All right, I'd like to call this meeting to order. Will the secretary please call the roll?
Dr. Braun. Mr. Cummings.
Here.
Dr. Falco.
Here.
Dr. Figueroa.
Here.
Mrs. Herrick.
Here.
Mr. Hung.
Here.
Dr. Pan.
Here.
And President Quas.
Here, we have a quorum. Please rise to salute the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, good evening. The New Jersey Open Public Meeting Law was enacted to ensure the right of the public to have advance notice of and to attend the meetings of public bodies at which any business affecting their interest is discussed and acted upon. In accordance with the provisions of this act, the East Brunswick Board of Education has caused notice of this meeting to be published at the Board of Education offices. Written notice was also provided to the Sentinel, the Newark Star Ledger, the Home News Tribune, and the Alternative Press of East Brunswick, and the Municipal Clerk of East Brunswick. All Board of Education meetings, with the exception of executive session discussions, are videotaped for later broadcast. It is the policy of the Board of Education that videotaped meetings are not edited for any purpose. Individuals who speak at the board meetings should be aware of these videotaping rules. All right, good evening. I just wanted to talk for a second about this meeting because the format will be a little different, and I have had people tell me in the past that they sort of wondered about the long closed session. So I wanted to say that this meeting is very specifically to meet with the firm that the board has engaged for the superintendent search. Very specifically, I think the first bit of the planning is the engage phase, which is very important to the board. The engage phase is when the firm seeks to gain as much information from surveys, forums, small group discussions, focus groups, interviews with the community and representatives of the community, as much information as we can gather from all stakeholders to identify what the community values in a leader and what they think what challenges would be and what would be the right match for a leader for the district, the qualities. So that is tonight. We also will be having the good of the cause for the public, but it will be limited in the beginning because we need to get into this meeting. So let me read the good of the cause for the public. The Board of Education recognizes the value of public comment on educational issues and the importance of allowing members of the public to express themselves on school matters of community interest. Protect the privacy of all students and staff. Concerns regarding individual students and staff members should generally be addressed by first meeting with the appropriate administrative staff. In order to permit the fair and orderly expression of such comment, the board shall provide a period for public comment at every meeting of the board. Each person is allowed 3 minutes. The board secretary will keep the time. If you step up to speak, please give your name and address, unless you are a student, and then just your name and school. And tonight, here's where it's slightly different. 30 minutes are allotted to this public comment segment. Individuals who are present now and do not have the opportunity to speak during this segment will have an opportunity to speak after the closed session. Is there anyone wishing to address the board?
Good evening. Dom Sclafani, 6 Fairfield Road. This speech was meant for Teacher Appreciation Night, but I was in Mexico, but hey, better late than never. As many of you know, I'm a graduate of the class of 2021, and I recently just graduated Rutgers with my Bachelor's of Science in Public Health. Thank you. I would like to thank the school, the education I got, and most importantly, the teachers that got me here. I would like to thank all my science teachers I had, Mrs. Holtzman, Mrs. Christensen, Mr. Spieshak, Mrs. DiBenedetti, Mr. Murray, Mrs. Carter, Mrs. Barton, Mr. Pike, Mrs. Kofinas, Mrs. Tarantino, and Mrs. Weeks, as well as my health and phys ed teachers, Mr. Harnett, Mrs. Griggle, Mr. Russo, Mrs. Gannat, Mrs. McQuaid, Mr. Carney, Mr. Alexander, Mr. Rosholz, Mr. Lebarski, Mr. Mott, Mr. Retz, and I'll throw in Miss Blaylock, Miss Blaylock too, who was the supervisor at the time, as well as DFAS and Dr. Klein, who were my athletic trainers. I'll even shout out my English teachers who taught me how to write papers and do public speaking, Mrs. Hammond, Mr. Heron, Mr. Kaminkowitz, Mrs. Kenny Stein, Mr. Gega, Mrs. Skidmore, Mrs. Hagan, Mrs. Teray. Finally, a special thanks to my counselors throughout the years, Mr. Singer, Mr. Pizeski, Mrs. Goldberg, Ms. Barna, Ms. Sicilian, Mrs. Haas, Mr. Ferraro, Ms. Raditsky, and Mrs. Rice. I'll throw Dr. Figueroa in there as well, since he also was head of that department. I can definitely say that these individuals helped shape and guide my education and eventual career path. I'm very thankful and grateful I got to have them. Thank you.
Congratulations on your graduation, Dom. I saw the pictures. I was really happy for you. Is there anyone else?
Feels so intimate. Hello, Danielle Vieto, Bradford Road. With more than 5 superintendent positions currently open in our area, it's clear that districts across the region are at a crossroads. At the same time, our community is actively craving open, constructive dialogue. This moment presents a prime opportunity not just for reflection, but for our action. Establishing a sanctioned parent advisory group would send a strong message that this board values collaboration and transparency. Now more than ever, all eyes are on our community. Any future superintendent will be looking closely to understand not only the challenges that they may inherit, but also the culture they're stepping into, for better or for worse. This is our chance to shape that culture intentionally by demonstrating that we are committed to being allies and not adversaries. Let's take this opportunity to build trust and create space for genuine partnership between families and leadership. Thank you.
Thank you, Danielle.
Allegra Seidler, 12 South Woodland Avenue. I did have a comment on the superintendent search, but I am happy to hear that the community will be at the forefront of this conversation moving forward, and I am looking forward to seeing that process play out transparently. With that, I would also like to comment on tomorrow's agenda in hopes that maybe it can be addressed at some point. Thankfully, the district has chosen to explore alternative ILA curricula, and the existence of the pilot is finally being made public. The 2 curricula have been selected, classes determined, and teachers assigned. That can be verified with the personnel actions also on tomorrow's agenda. I do want to know, what role did the board have in any of this? I have asked multiple times if policy exists addressing the structure of pilots and who the committee chairs are, specifically for the curriculum committee. Ensuring not only that pilot studies actually take place, but that they are designed to be reliable and bring maximum value to the children, the ultimate stakeholders here, is essential. To someone who is not looped in, it appears as though this conversation is beginning tomorrow when it's been in the works for at least a month, arguably more. Is anyone going to ask any questions about the structure of this pilot, about why, after the February 13th presentation, touting the current curriculum, the district has now chosen to explore other options, about how teachers were selected? Will anyone ask for the unedited teacher survey responses? On May 22nd, when the universal literacy screeners were announced, no one asked any questions. There was nothing about which one may be used, how it was selected, or anything else. Establishing clearer policy on expectations surrounding adoption of curriculum is well within your purview. Having public-facing conversations about the desirable qualities of a new superintendent is well within your purview. As elected officials, it is your duty to represent the public's interests and your responsibility to ensure the district is well-run. Proactively addressing all of these issues while meaningfully including us as stakeholders can do exactly that. Giving us information after the fact does the opposite. Thank you.
Thank you, Allegra.
Jeff Winston, Fresh Ponds Road, East Brunswick. So, board members, I heard President Glass's words, and I hope that's true. Although you've been part of a pair that has lied in the past, so I'm hoping that doesn't occur again. Tonight marks the second Board of Education meeting where superintendent vacancy will be addressed in closed session. I understand this includes finalizing the contract with the search firm to find a successor. While that step is necessary, I have a few critical concerns, and that has been shared by not only myself, but by the community. First and foremost will be transparency. Any conversation about the qualifications, characteristics that we seek from the next superintendent must take place in open session, not in closed session at all. According to the law and the 9 specific reasons listed on your own agenda, that type of discussion is not allowed behind closed doors, yet here we are again repeating the same potential violations that have occurred during my time on this board where inappropriate things were talked about and closed often. The public has a right to know the qualities of their elected their elected officials value in the next leader of this district. Once a search firm is hired, they'll be briefed immediately. If those expectations are set privately, we've already shut the door on the most important voices, the ones you mentioned, the parents, the staff, the students, the community members. And that's not just a missed opportunity, that will be a breach of trust. Second, the urgency of this process is alarming. Historically, East Brunswick has appointed an interim superintendent while conducting a thoughtful and inclusive search. That's what ensures stability and confidence. But rushing to fill this role, especially behind closed doors, suggests something else. It suggests political convenience is being prioritized over the long-term health of the district. Many have noted that this process feels like a continuation of the same leadership culture that has been defined the past 7 years, a culture that, frankly, many found troubling, and the fact that this is being pushed ahead of a potential board change come this January only intensifies those concerns. This is a pivotal moment for East Brunswick. We can reset. We can move forward with integrity, with openness, and with full community engagement, but that will only happen if this board chooses transparency over secrecy and courage over convenience. Our students, our educators, and every resident in this town deserves a process that is trust, and let's not make the mistakes. We have to get this one right. While I have hopefully a little bit more time left, I will say that the appointment process is coming up. I encourage every board member to read the bylaws on how that is supposed to be done. The bylaws
15
were
seconds.
changed. Thank you. The bylaws were changed following one other time, but every interview of every interested applicant should be done in open. There is an option to do it in closed, and I encourage all of you to push that out in open. This transparency has to begin now. Time, right? Thank you very much.
Is there anyone else? All right, then I'm going to close the public portion. Sorry, we are going into closed because the board will be discussing the specific parameters of the terms and conditions of the prospective superintendent's employment contract. So, closed session. Whereas the Board of Education must discuss matters which are not appropriate for discussion in a public meeting, and whereas these subjects are within the exception to the Open Public Meeting Act and are permitted to be discussed in closed session pursuant to NJSA 10-4-12B, and whereas the Board of Education intends to discuss matters as follows, which I just stated. Whereas the length of the closed session is estimated to be 3 hours, after which the public meeting of the board shall reconvene and action will not be taken. All right, can I have a motion?
Move.
Second.
Okay. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? All right, we are in closed. Thank you.